Ready. Look, you got pretty little shoes on. Look at this redwood motherfucker.
Leave now, or they can carry your fat ass out in a bucket. 2. So I'll give you to the count of 3.
The series opens with a brutal murder committed by a deranged killer. After firing multiple rounds into the victim, the killer cruelly kicks the corpse, retrieves the spent bullets, and then covers the body with a cloth. The scene shifts to a man named Jack Reacher, a former military police officer, who has just arrived in the quiet town of Margrave, Georgia. As he walks toward a local diner, he witnesses a man aggressively yelling at his girlfriend. Jack is repulsed by the man's behavior, and with just a stern glare, he silently compels the man to apologize and back down. Inside the diner, Jack is served a cup of hot coffee and cassava bread. Just as he's about to eat, a fleet of police cars pulls up, causing alarm among the patrons. Jack observes the commotion calmly, but is caught off guard when the police unexpectedly target him. Although confident he's innocent, he cooperates and allows himself to be taken into custody on suspicion of murder. At the station, Officer Roscoe Conklin tries to get more details about Jack's identity, but he only provides his name. Upon searching his belongings, they find a passport, $200 in cash, and a Medal of Honor. Chief Detective Oscar Finley then interrogates Jack, presenting evidence linked to the murder. The victim had been shot execution-style in the back of the head with a 9mm round and severely beaten. Due to the victim's swollen fingertips, the police were struggling to identify them. Finley offers Jack a lawyer, but Jack declines, asserting his innocence. Officer Conklin delves deeper into Jack's background but finds no social media presence. The only available information is that his parents were deceased and he had an older brother. Jack, known for leading a special investigations unit in the military police, had killed before, but never without cause. He theorizes that the murder was likely carried out by 3 people, given the use of 9mm rounds and subsonic silenced ammunition. His deductions prove remarkably accurate, even predicting the body's treatment suggested the killers were experienced. Finley is both impressed and skeptical, remaining suspicious of Jack due to his matching the description of a person seen near the crime scene. Jack explains that he came to Margrave to investigate the truth about a blues musician named Blind Blake, who had reportedly died there. The police discover that the murder took place around midnight. If Jack could be proven to have still been on the city bus at that time, it would clear his name. Meanwhile, the investigation continues, focusing on a phone number found on the victim's shoe and a note with the word pluribus scribbled on it. The narrative flashes back to Jack's teenage years when his family, including his older brother Joe, moved to a new town due to their father's job. They faced hostility from local teens, but Jack and Joe stood their ground. Back in the present, Jack is held in a jail cell while the investigation continues. Officer Roscoe brings him coffee, showing sympathy and expressing her belief in his innocence. Based on her experience, real criminals typically exhibit more obvious behavioral signs, and Jack didn't. Meanwhile, Detective Finley traces the phone number found on the victim's shoe to the home of a man named Paul Hubble. When approached, Paul becomes anxious after noticing a suspicious vehicle outside his house. In a panic, Paul falsely confesses to the murder, though it's clear during questioning that he doesn't know the victim or the circumstances. Despite Paul's confession, Finley remains doubtful due to Paul's clean record as a banker in Atlanta. Jack is released when the evidence begins to support his alibi, but Paul is placed in the same holding cell as Jack. Finley asks Jack to stay in town, recognizing the value of his investigative insights. Jack suspects a link between Paul and an officer named Stevenson, and he's proven right when it's revealed that Stevenson is married to Paul. Jack also accurately deduces details about Finley, including his Harvard education, his recent divorce, and his desire to reunite with his ex-wife while trying to quit smoking. To confirm Paul's innocence, Finley questions Stevenson and learns that Paul and his wife were at a party until 2 a.m., far from the murder scene. Realizing that Paul was likely coerced into confessing, Finley keeps both men in custody for their safety while the real culprit is pursued. At the prison, the warden informs them they'll be housed in a unit separate from the general population, and their personal clothing is taken. Suspicious of the prison officer's spivey, Jack refuses to remove his pants, warning that he won't tolerate mistreatment. Despite their supposed protection, Jack and Paul are placed in a dangerous cell block. The next morning, Jack finds himself surrounded by violent inmates. Tension rises when 3 of them steal Paul's shoes and glasses and attempt to take his pants. Jack steps in, warns them, and then takes them down in a fight when they don't back off. Later in the yard, Paul confides in Jack, revealing that he was forced by his boss into financial fraud and feared for his life if he didn't comply. Paul feels safer near Jack and even follows him to the bathroom the next day. In the bathroom, 5 large inmates corner Jack. He warns them and counts to 3 before launching a brutal defense, defeating all 5 in seconds. The noise attracts the attention of prison officials, who are stunned to find Jack standing unscathed among the badly injured attackers. Though Jack and Paul were supposed to be relocated, they are instead brought back to Finley. Finley is astonished by Jack's combat skills and his insight into Finley's personal life. Trying to make amends, Finley contacts his ex-wife, Sharon, hoping to reconnect. Roscoe later uncovers Jack's decorated military history. He graduated from West Point, received a Silver Star, the Legion of Merit, and the Soldier's Medal. He once saved 12 fellow soldiers from an explosion and solved over 150 cases. These revelations cause Finley to seriously reconsider his earlier suspicions. At breakfast, Jack informs Finley that prison officer Spivey likely placed them in general population on someone's orders. Eventually, Jack and Paul are released. Paul is picked up by his wife, and Roscoe picks up Jack. To fully clear his name, Roscoe shows video footage proving Jack was boarding a bus the night of the murder. With his name cleared, Jack prepares to leave, but Roscoe invites him to dinner and helps him buy clothes from a thrift store. While getting a haircut at a barbershop, Jack notices a suspicious car tailing him. The barber's elderly father shares local history, explaining that a billionaire named Kleiner once helped develop Margrave by founding several elite companies through the Kleiner Foundation. Jack learns the car belongs to Kleiner's son and his cousin Dawson. When Jack confronts them, Kleiner Jr. admits he knows Jack's background and ominously warns that Margrave's power players won't let an outsider interfere. Back at police headquarters, Roscoe informs Jack of another murder victim found with similar bullet wounds. When Jack examines the body and hears the autopsy results, he notices the victim had a latex allergy and swollen hands from grappling with an attacker using a polyvinyl shield, meant to avoid leaving DNA. He also spots an old fracture in the victim's arm, previously treated in Berlin. These details lead Jack to a heartbreaking realization: the victim is his brother, Joe Reacher. Jack, determined to avenge Joe, vows to track down those responsible and bring them to justice.